the Michigan Wolverines. Now, there was a mass exodus off that staff. They took Jesse Minter, who was amazing. He was great as the defensive coordinator, but Sharon Moore wasted no time. He went out and he said, I'm going to go and get a slam dunk, no-brainer, highly respected, universally respected coach that has spent some time with John Harbaugh in the past, in 2019 and 2020. I'm going to go out and get Wink Martindale. The last time they went to the Ravens, well, it worked pretty well. And while things didn't go great for Wink Martindale with the New York Giants, few things have for the New York Giants the last couple of years. If you look at what Martindale has done, they've been a group that really likes to get after the opposing quarterback. They love to bring pressure. They love to bring heat. And while they do have to replace a bunch of players, they lose half of the players that played 250 plus snaps. So they lose 9 out of 18. They're still in a really good spot, though, when you look at some of the pieces that are returning. If you look at the returning production numbers, not great. But the pieces that are coming back give me an awful lot of optimism. You have unbelievable edge presences with Derek Moore and Josiah Stewart. You got Kenneth Grant, who is probably about as active as you'll find on anybody that's 330, 340, 350. He'll pair with Mason Graham in the middle, so you have 4 guys up front that can take over the game. Now you have Will Johnson back, which is enormous because there was a time there where Will Johnson, I mean, you put him on some of the best receivers in college football, they're going to have a less than stellar day. You got a couple of great safeties in Makari Page and Quentin Johnson that should be rock solid and make sure that they'll be able to kind of keep things in front and make sure the communication between all 3 levels of the defense will be just fine. And I think you can make a case, a real strong case, that Will Johnson is as good as anybody in the sport right now returning at the cornerback spot. So a few things to keep in mind, new defensive coordinator, but I cannot imagine Michigan's identity defensively changing that drastically. And they played so many guys last year, so many guys, and they rotated so many guys, even though they weren't starters, even though they weren't complete game changers, they weren't guys that were cemented in the starting lineup playing 500 plus snaps. There's a lot of guys that played a lot. Now they're just going to have to go from playing 190 snaps to, say, 400 snaps. And I think the transition will be easier for Michigan than it will be for most.